Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Iconic Dollcast. My name is Sage, your host. Welcome to a special 2-year anniversary episode for the podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Today, we are going to be talking about the making of the Britney Spears doll, and we're going to be talking about that with Felicia Culotta, who I'm sure most of you are familiar with, especially if you are coming here from the Britney fandom. This episode has both a video version and an audio only version. So if you'd like to watch as you listen, please head over to Spotify or YouTube and just search Iconic Dollcast. Before we get into this absolutely amazing interview, I am guessing because of my guest, some of you may be tuning into the Iconic Dollcast for the very first time. I figured I should probably add in a little bit about myself and what I do. So, hi, my name is Sage, and I make custom Britney Spears dolls, and I run a podcast called the Iconic Dollcast, all about dolls. I have been doing my custom Britney Spears dolls for about 6.5 years now. I've done something like 350 different Britney designs. Some of them I've done several times, and they are all 100% one-of-a-kind, unique dolls. And for my customs, I used the actual Britney Spears doll that was released in 1999 and ran through about 2002. I collected these dolls as a kid and have so many great memories of trying to hunt them down with my grandma when they were being released in stores. It's just always been my favorite doll. Both Britney and her doll have had a huge impact on my life and opened so many doors for me, and I love them so much. At this point, I've sold dolls all around the world, and I'm super proud of it. Please check out my Instagram, Britney Spears Custom Dolls, to see some of my work and order your own custom if you want. I've made pretty much any Britney design from any situation, from music videos to tours to paparazzi photos, award shows, anything you can think of, and it's pretty cool. Like I said, I also run a podcast. It's called the Iconic Dollcast, and it's exactly what it sounds like. I talk about all sorts of different dolls, from Monster High, Britney, Barbie, Rainbow High, Bratz, Strawberry Shortcake, Rainbow Bright, anything you can think of. It's very fun for me, and I love it. And I've been doing this for 2 years. So, like I said, this is the 2-year anniversary for the podcast. Please, if you haven't yet, I just re-released my interview with Charlie MB, and he was one of the creators of the Britney Spears doll. So he went over a lot of the history of how the doll came to be, and it was very fun. So check that out after this episode if you enjoy it. Before we start, I also want to mention that this interview is specifically about Britney Spears' doll. So if you are here for any other Britney related tea, I'm sorry, I don't have any. I was really excited when Felicia reached out and said she wanted to be on the show. And so I made it very clear to her that I was only going to be asking about the doll. So there's no drama involved in this episode. It's all just happy vibes. And I made it very clear from the beginning, before we even recorded, that I would only be asking about the doll. And I'm just so honored that she was willing to come on and talk with me about it, because Felicia was very involved in the process of making the Britney Spears doll. But she did share some really cool, fun stories from her memories with Britney and memories of making the doll. So I know you guys are going to love it no matter what. I also want to mention that Felicia did this completely on her own time. She talked with me for almost 2 hours. She was so willing to discuss the doll, and I appreciate it so much. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. I have tons more episodes coming out this fall that I'm really excited about. If you haven't yet, please follow me on Instagram, Britney Spears Custom Dolls, or you can follow the podcast Instagram, Iconic Dollcast. Follow me on TikTok at Britney Spears Dolls. And here is my interview with Felicia Culotta, all about the making of the Britney Spears doll. All right, everyone. Today I have a very iconic guest on the show to talk with me about my favorite doll of all time, and that is the Britney Spears doll. Today I am joined by Felicia Culotta, Miss Fee herself. If you are even just a casual Britney Spears fan, you are probably aware of her. Felicia was Britney's longtime assistant and friend. She is someone I have known about, ever since the very beginning of my Britney journey. And I'm just absolutely honored to have her on the show with me today. Miss Fee, how are you doing?
I'm doing so well, Sage. Thank you for doing this. This makes my heart so happy.
Oh my God. Well, it makes my heart happy. I am over the moon excited. So before we get into the dolls, tell me a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to lately.
Well, I started with Brittany when she was 15. Her mom and I go way back. So I've known Britt since she was 5. Mm, just had the best career. And I off and on really with Brittany for, gosh, 20 plus years. And once Vegas ended 2018, I went on to work on a musical production with one of the songwriters that I had met along the way and just became really great friends with. His name is Max Martin.
Of
And
course.
so, so Max asked if I would, he said there was a play that they were doing that was about his music. And I said, "Oh my goodness." And he said, "I'd love for you to come work with me." And I said, "Max, I don't know anything about theater." And he said, "Fee, I don't either." I'm like, "Okay, I'll come help you." So I went to London and we opened and Juliet on London's West End. And it was just the neatest project I think I'd ever done to date at that point. Not the Britney stuff, but at that
Right.
point, that was the neatest thing. And then it opened again. I got to work on Broadway.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I got it opened on Broadway in December, gosh, 2 years ago.
I think so.
And now, I mean, it's in Australia. It's going to go to Japan. They're going to do they're touring Europe. They're touring the US and hopefully lots more to come. So I've been doing that. I also work with a blues musician. His name is Kebmo. It's Kebmo. I call
Wow.
him Mr. Kevin. He calls me Miss Fee. He is 74 and I am smitten by him. So I spend a lot of time in Nashville and it's just a different I still feel like I'm in music, but just a completely different genre. And I assist him when we go places, and it's just so different, but yet so alike. The age difference with him and Brittany is huge, but yet they both are such creative minds that I have to go, Focus, Mr. Kevin, focus," because they get so excited and in their own heads about music and lyrics and yeah, it's really a very parallel to what I used to do and but on a smaller scale. I mean, Mr. Kevin has won 5 Grammys. He's no small scale, but you'll have to look him up. You'll love him. You look
Yeah.
him up. So I I feel like I've really, as far as the music world goes, being with Brit was like the best thing on planet Earth. And then when I worked with the Jonas Boys, so it was a girl, then a group of boys, and now man. And it's just been the pick of the litter, I think.
Oh my gosh. You've done it
I've,
all. You've done it
I've done it.
all.
And I don't know if you know, but before I was with Brit, I was a nanny in New York. So the kids were 18 months and 3. And the 18-month-old just celebrated her 30th birthday last weekend.
Oh.
So now they're 30 and 32, and a 26-year-old that wasn't even there when I was there. But the mom made a comment all those years ago that one day I'm going to own something that's going to give back medical supplies to everybody in the whole world that needs them. So I said, "You make that happen, and I'm going to come work with you." So she did, and I do. And it's the AFIA Foundation, AFYA. And AFIA is a word in the Swahili language that means health and healing. And we give surplus medical supplies to the whole world. And so my job is to schedule the little box truck to go all over New York and New Jersey and Connecticut and pick up walkers and canes and crutches and all that kind of good stuff. And we send it all over the world. So I do that and help Mr. Kevin now. So it all makes me very happy.
Well, good. I mean, you should always be doing what you love, right? And I just,
Yes,
you know,
yeah.
and one thing I've always loved about you, Miss V, is like you're just such a happy, just outgoing, wonderful person. And so I'm so happy to hear all of these amazing things that you're doing. And I want to
And I
say,
still think it all goes back to how being with Brit allowed me to feel so happy and
Mhm.
accomplished, and to watch I was so happy to be a part of somebody else's dream, because her dream was big, and you just you couldn't help but get swept up in it and enjoy it.
Oh,
So,
of course. Yeah,
so that
of course.
that kinda it all goes back to her allowing me to be part of her dream, and that made me very happy.
Makes us all happy. And so today we're obviously going to talk about Britney's very, very iconic doll. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, Miss V, but you know, Britney has the second best-selling celebrity doll of all time next to the Spice Girls. And let's be fair, there's five Spice Girls. So, you
Yes,
know,
okay.
and
So
you know,
not
it's
to slide a spice, because I do love me some spice, but
of course. But
I do love me
The Britney doll is everything. And so, I mean, obviously, I think as fans, we all know Britney has said it many times, you know, during her career, and you know, she collected dolls growing up. Did you collect dolls growing up or anything?
I really didn't. I had dolls and I had special dolls that I loved, but Brittany had just very collectible dolls, ones that you really couldn't play with.
Right.
And mine all ended up with their haircut and marker makeup. So Britt had the fancy kind and she would love them and put them up and treasured them. And mine, I think I just love to death. If there's, yeah.
I can't tell you how many Barbies that they had adventures. But then as an adult, I learned how to fix them up and you know, thank goodness. And then like I was saying, my favorite doll of all time is the Britney Spears doll. And you know, a couple years back, I think 6 years ago, I started maybe I guess you could call it a business. And it's basically where I take that original Britney doll and I completely make her over. So she gets new hair, she gets a new outfit, she gets a more like movable body. And I'll definitely will get it. I'll show you some of those. And it's just been great because, like I said, favorite doll of all time, favorite artist of all time. You know, it's just a win-win for me. And I've managed to sell dolls all over the world. And I mean, you'd be shocked if you knew how many people all around the world are still just so obviously in love with Britney and just how many people buy a doll of her. And I use that original face that they did for the doll because I think she's so amazing. And I think it also, because obviously, I mean, like I said, the doll is one of the best-selling celebrity dolls of all time. And people love to, you know, people who as a kid maybe had the doll, you know, lost her along the way, or like you said, had a lot of makeup on there, they had marker all over
Love,
her face,
love her to death.
you know, lots of haircuts. And it's just very special for people because when they get them, they're like, oh my gosh, this is just like, you know, the one I had. And this is such a nice feeling. And so the doll has had a major, major impact, not just on Britney fans, but doll collectors as well. And so I mean, you said you got involved with Britney's career pretty early because you were close with her mom, and things I think probably took off a lot quicker than you were anticipating. But I really think a big moment for a lot of musicians or artists or movie stars or you know just a big thing is when they get their own doll. And Britney got her own doll pretty quickly. So do you remember when talks started of creating her doll came
I
about?
do. I do. I
Oh,
remember when we were in New York and they brought some samples of bodies and faces and hair and the head was on a stick,
mm,
you know, on some type of little wooden dowel maybe.
mhm.
And they had several Britney faces without hair, which of course we thought was hilarious. And then she could pick hair, but it almost kind of freaked her out, I think, because the face that they ended up picking was so incredibly close, and she was a part of that. I wasn't. I could stand back and giggle and laugh and tell her what I thought, but ultimately it came down to which one she felt was the most like, you know, had the most likeness to her. And then it kind of went from there. But they were so neat because they showed us the process of how they put the hair on the dolls. And it was just they included her in every step, down to the outfits, which is where I got to be included.
Ooh.
But she was very included in the whole process. So in other words, if she didn't think the face looked like her, they wouldn't have used it. Or, you know, the hair wasn't right or whatever. She truly got to be a part of it, which I was there. And so I was tickled to help giggle with her.
Mhm.
Because looking at yourself as a head on a dowel was a little funny, so we had quite a good time with it.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine. And I can also imagine, as someone who, collects dolls and has always, she's very vocal about that. I mean, I just can't imagine how exciting it is to hear. Like, I mean, and weird, but also just like, oh my gosh, they're going to make a mass-produced doll of you and millions of people are going to buy this all over the world.
I think she enjoyed the idea of it being a doll and of her being a doll likeness. And yes, I think it ended up being really weird to her as she would sit and look at this tiny little replica of her. But they had the big ones and they had the little tiny ones. But I have to be honest, I think some of the things that just infatuated her the most were the little accessories that they put with them. How really lifelike the little microphone and one of them had like a little CD player, a
Hmm.
little Walkman, and we were just and the brushes that the whole process just tickled her to death. It
That
really did.
is amazing. And a big thing that a lot of doll collectors talk about with this doll line is how intricate and perfect the little accessories were because they really put a lot of effort into these. I mean, yes, you can get boom boxes, little like camcorders, and just so many cool little and the little shoes.
And the tour bus.
Yes, the
Oh my
bus.
gosh. Unfortunately, we couldn't travel with all that, all the goodies, but had we been able to, there is no doubt in my mind that we would set up in her room in the bus and played with those dolls. No doubt. They were so neat and the clothes that would come on and off and oh, did I tell you how I was associated with the clothing?
You did. So let's get into that. So Brittany's looking at the head. She's like, all right, I want this one. And then, I mean, the thing is they put out about 50 of these and they were all in different outfits. So tell me about that.
Well, the way I got most involved is during all the video shoots or the award show shoots or whatever we were doing. I had a camera, and most of the time it was a Kodak disposable camera, but I would take shots of her from all angles. And then I would take pictures of the clothes while they were hanging. I would take pictures of the clothes, while they laid them out to press them or steam them. And I would just get all different angles of the clothes. I would shoot a whole roll of film. Most of the time she wasn't in the clothes. And then they would take, well, then Larry found a place in New York where I could get them developed, the
Hmm.
pictures developed that nobody would, steal. And then Johnny Wright lived in Los Angeles. So if we were working out there, Johnny was Britt's touring manager. Johnny found a place out there that we trusted that I could go and get the pictures all reproduced. Then I would put them in a FedEx envelope and send them off to be reproduced. That was the last we saw until the doll came. And so, and actually, I always made several prints and I would give Kurt and Bart, if they were the designers of the outfits, I would give them a copy of the prints of the pictures of the clothes that they then turned into the dolls. And I always gave Britt's mom pictures of the clothes that they turned into the dolls because it was just so neat to see them go from life size to teeny tiny and they didn't miss a detail.
No,
Loved it.
no, these are extremely well done, especially for a playline doll. And the best part I think about them is that for the most part, I mean, these dolls are what, 20, 25 years old. They've stood the test of time. They lasted. I mean, I've had this doll since I'm 33 now.
Oh,
I've had this doll since I was like 10, 9, maybe even, and she still looks great.
now that is a doll that the outfit I did not photograph
Okay.
because that came along after I started the photographic process. So what they did with that doll was they just took stills from the video itself and were able to make the doll because I didn't have any part of the clothing part of that. But she did pick the face and the hair, they replicated it, but it didn't start until after the video was already done. Now the
Right.
other videos, yes, but that one, no.
Which makes sense because everyone, we're like, it's a podcast. We are talking about the baby one more time, the iconic schoolgirl outfit, which is Britney's very first music video. So I mean that makes sense because I mean that video is really what catapulted her I'm sure into getting a doll deal, just
Right.
because I mean it was so massive and so big. And so when you're picking out the clothes, did you just take pictures of all her costumes, or were you like, oh, let's do this one and this one, or I don't like this one, maybe we shouldn't make a doll out of
No,
it?
you know what? I just let them choose that. My main focus was to make sure that they got what they needed at the time that I could get it. Because like the Baby One More Time outfit, for example, once we left, all that was there,
Mhm.
except the shoes. Anyway,
Uh,
the shoes we thought were the coolest things ever. But what happened was we would walk away and Britt didn't take any of it with her. The stylist took it. So, or, it wasn't with us. So if I didn't get the shots then, they weren't to be gotten. So I just tried to take everything and then let the doll makers decide what they wanted to make the outfits like. I just provided the content.
and did they ask you for any specifics, or did you just kind of go for it and see what happened with it?
So the only instruction that I was actually given was if you could get it from every angle, um, which of course, and I'll tell you this cute little pop-up video.
Yes.
Um, I would get her to, front, back, side, and then Kurt and Bart would get in. Those are the stylists that we
Mhm.
worked with many of the videos and the MTV Awards and stuff. Um, Kurt and Bart would get in and they would all three flip me off. So I've got the picture of Brit in her beautiful costume and the designers, the costumers standing next to her. Everybody's flipping me off because they're so tired of me pestering them. Oh, wait, I gotta get a picture of that. Wait, don't put that up. I gotta get a picture of that. Uh-huh. Oh yeah. So kind to the Fifi. Yeah.
Well, we're very thankful that you did that, Miss Fee. Thank you. And you know what? It was worth it, in my opinion.
But as I was thinking about this, I'm thinking, oh boy, those are not, I did not send those,
Right.
but I have them. Do not fear. I have them.
Just in case you need them
Yeah.
someday. Absolutely. Okay. And so you're taking these pictures, you're sending them off to the doll company. I mean, did it take a long time, or were they pretty quick to be like, this is did you see examples of anything where you guys were all like, or
No, no,
wow.
we didn't. I sent them off, and then truly, as quickly as we were moving, I don't remember if it took a long time or not. I don't think it did.
I don't either.
I really don't think it did. But as far as us, I mean, again, it was so true to the costume itself that there wasn't anything we didn't like because Britt wouldn't have worn it if it was something that she didn't like in the first place. So she would have had it tweaked to the point of being able to like it. So by the time I took the actual picture of it, it was something she had on her body that would be used. So no, we didn't dislike anything because it had already been approved by her because it was on her body when I sent them the pictures.
Right. I love this. This is amazing. It's amazing to hear because there is a lot of, I mean, people talk and people, fans make up lore all the time. And there is a lot of conversation, not a lot, but there's some conversation that Britney hated her doll and she hated the one they chose. And I learned pretty quickly when I talked to Charlie MB, he was like, no, like she picked it all out. We had to do a few before she was
Yes,
satisfied. But I mean, it's
sure.
it's great to hear that no, the one that hit the shelves, Brittany picked it out. So she must have
Yeah, no,
liked
she
it.
loved it. She
Uh
loved it. And it was weird. She go, but I mean, goodness gracious, me looking at myself on Zoom, it's weird. It's
it
weird to see
is.
myself. I can't imagine seeing a little fee, it's like, oh, but it was weird, but it wasn't something she disliked at all. It was just odd. I mean, you don't go around seeing yourself in a Barbie doll size.
Oh,
You just
totally,
don't.
totally. I could imagally that would be just kind of, I mean, shocking, really. Like, and it looks like
Yeah,
her.
but no,
So
she
it's
didn't.
like,
Like, yeah, exactly. You're looking at yourself in a tiny little form. We were quite enamored with, like I said, all the little things, the detail. Yeah, we were quite enamored.
I love to hear that. And Do you remember this is maybe something that they never would inform you about. I don't know why they would, but were there any issues that came about with the creation of the doll that you can think of?
No, the issues would have been, ruled out by the time we got to the actual stage of picking the doll. No, she just, maybe, and I'm making this up totally, but maybe the hair wasn't quite right or whatever. All that was tweaked by Brit and the makers before ever a doll was made.
Okay.
So, after we really did the first critique of everything, it was really up to them. She didn't go back and say, "Oh, I don't like the way my eyes look," or "I don't like,"
Hmm.
none of that. I think she put her seal of approval on early on, and they just took it from there. They didn't manipulate or control it. They
Okay.
allowed her opinion, and then they went with that. I think something that's gotten misconstrued in the years is that everybody wanted to change things, but they didn't. She really had a great eye for her hair, her makeup, her look. And so if she said, "I like that. That looks like me. I like how that doll's hair looks. I like the makeup." And by then, once the pictures were taken of the clothes. Oh, and I'll tell you a fun fact about the clothing and the pictures. The clothes were picked out via fax.
Whoa.
Kurt or Bart would I don't remember which Kurt or Bart was the one that drew, but they drew these pictures and they would fax them to me wherever we were in the world. And I'd go to the concierge desk and pick up my fax and I'd take them upstairs and I'd say, "Okay, Britt, this is kind of what you talked to Kurt and Bart about." And she could take then a pencil or a pen and go, "No, I'd rather it be a flared leg or a crop top or a," and we corrected it all on fax, and I faxed it back.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that had all been tweaked before the video. So, or before the pictures that I took that we were sent would send to the toy maker, to the doll maker. So everything had already been approved. So there was nothing for her to be displeased about, and they didn't change it. That was one of the things. They were good to their word.
Good.
Like, "If this is what you like, this is what we're gonna make."
Well,
And they
that's
didn't
amazing.
go against. Yes, yes,
Because if you want me to be honest with you, sometimes with those celebrity dolls, they can really go off the mark. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, some are great, some are okay, some are terrible. But I would definitely 100% say I believe, and I am a big doll collector. You can't really see it, but I'm surrounded by them.
love it, love it so much.
Britney's doll is amazing. It looks just like
Yeah,
her, and they changed it a couple times to make her. I think they kind of matured. I mean, this was very quick, but they matured the doll with her. So it just like you look at
yes.
these dolls and you're like, I can tell when this is from just by the face. You know what I mean?
Well, and those were all picked really early on. They were really able to age her in the process of the heads on the stick. And she could, I mean, she didn't say, "This is the very one I want. I like this Britney and I like that Britney and I like this." So, I mean, they were able to do all that without having to go back to the drawing board and back to the heads on the stick, to make her feel comfortable with all the dolls.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that because people make stuff up and I'm like, I don't know, guys. I think Britney was pretty involved in this.
She was very involved, and
I love
she
it.
has such a good eye.
Oh, I would agree. These dolls look fantastic.
Yeah.
They look pretty good, Britt. Good job. Um, and so do you remember the first time you saw like the final, did they send a bunch to you and they're like, here they are?
Oh my gosh, every time they did a new Brit doll, they'd send me one in the mail, and they
Oh,
would send Lynn several, because now Jamie Lynn would play with them, but they would send me one in the mail, and Larry always had them. Like if they sent a doll before I even got home to see, they would send them to Larry's office. And so when he would either we'd go by the office and he'd say, because there was always papers to sign and pictures to approve. So then she would see, the doll. So we always were able to check it out, and she would take a lot of times she'd take it with us.
oh my God, I
"Did
absolutely would.
Larry, can I have this?" And he'd be like, "Of course you can."
I would
I
hope
mean,
so.
yeah.
That's amazing. And so these dolls came out and were massive. I think something like 5 to 6 million of them were sold. Did you guys ever, I mean, did you expect that? Did she expect that? I mean, do you know that? Like they were
I don't know that.
huge,
I don't know
huge.
that. Um, Again, it was so much about her creativity till it was from one okay, we're on to the dolls. Now we're always on to the next thing. It was just like this wonderful train ride. We just chugged along. And, you know, at- you said, did we expect it? We never talked about that, but I always knew. It wasn't that I expected. I just I just knew. There was something inside of me that knew that you couldn't help but know. I mean, she put every ounce of her in everything she did. So I just knew next thing's going to be good. It's going to be okay.
I'm just it warms my heart to hear that. I'm so glad. And I mean, yeah, the doll was massive. Millions sold. So I remember I must have been not, let's see, 99. I was 9 years old, I think, 8 or 9. And I remember seeing the ad for it. And I was already I had Baby One More Time on cassette, okay? Like
Thank you.
I
Yes.
was a fan from the start, and I remember I think it was Kmart, maybe Kmart, Walmart, Target, one of them, and we got like the ads you used to get in the mail with like the new toys and everything, and I saw there was Britney Spears doll coming soon. Me and my grandma spent weeks trying to track
Oh,
this down, and I talk about my grandma all the time. She's still with us. She's still with
yeah.
us. I have so many wonderful doll memories with my grandma, but several of my major ones are involve me hunting down the new Britney doll because we'd see them, we'd get the ads, and I have to tell you, there was one time. So my grandma's from Norway, and
Oh,
yeah, and we went to Norway one summer, and it was maybe like summer of 2000, I think.
yeah.
And we're in Norway, and of course I wanted to go to a toy store because, well, of course we found one of them in Norway, and it was like I will never forget this. The look on my grandma's face. It was, I think, obviously I was obsessed with Britney already. Britney, Britney, Britney. I think Oops had just come out.
Oh,
And we're in this little toy shop in Norway, and they have one of the Britney Spears dolls. And I already had a few. And what's so funny is I had one of them with me
oh,
because I brought her everywhere with me. And I just remember my grandma just being like, wow, she like really is like a global
worldwide.
superstar. And we bought it up, and it's something we talk about. She was like, do you remember that time we found that Britney doll in Norway? And I just couldn't believe it. And I'm like, I do remember that.
Sounds like around the time that we might have been there
I think so. I think she
to
was
Oslo.
yep, you guys were definitely touring because she was on all the magazines, and it was just a great thing to know. Like, I mean, I would definitely say Britney Spears was my first superstar, like where I was like, she is it. She is the moment, and it
Yes.
stuck
Yeah.
with me for literally forever. And I don't know, just with the dolls, I mean, we couldn't believe it. So I still have that. She's back there somewhere, but still have that doll. But yeah, just a big moment in pop culture, I think. And so very exciting. Were there any of the dolls that you remember getting and being like, oh my god, I love this one?
Let's
I,
think of my favorite then. Oh,
I mean, there's a lot of them, Miss V.
I remember loving the tiny Britney dolls. You remember they had the Barbies, but they
Yeah,
had the tinies.
let's pull one of those out right now. These
Those were my favorite because I like tiny things.
so
So
cute.
I loved those. I loved the Barbies, but when they did the tinies, I don't know why I love those so much. Those made me very happy.
Ah, me too. I always loved many things too. But then there's also, do you remember the porcelain doll that they did?
I don't.
Oh my gosh, you are going to have a flashback right now because I know this was a big one. So they did it was part of the doll line, but it was like a very limited
Oh, and
thing.
she's bigger, right? She's
Yeah,
bigger.
she's much
Yes,
bigger.
yes.
And
Oh,
she
wow.
is like, I mean, she's porcelain, so I'm so
You know what?
scared.
I didn't get one of those.
Oh, Miss Fee, we
I'm
gotta
sure
get you
Lynn did,
one. Okay.
but I did not get one of those. That is beautiful.
Yes, and what I love about the Britney doll is like you can get one in all. Here's like the
Yeah.
Barbie. You can get them in here. You can't even
Oh my gosh,
all
that's
the sizes.
fantastic.
It's amazing.
And I have to say, I almost think the baby doll is my baby one more time doll, not you know what I'm saying? The
Yep,
baby one more time doll. I don't know.
it's my favorite.
It's just, I don't know. I love it so much. I love the pigtails with the little pink fluff balls. And I just, that's probably my favorite because that was, I don't know. It's just like you said, it's so iconic. And that video was the best video ever.
Oh
We had
yeah.
such a great time. Um, Now I don't remember the stylist names from that video, and that makes me sad. I remember Oops video, Michael Bush did it. And the reason I know Michael, well, I remember Michael so well as is that Michael was Michael Jackson's all time. Like Michael Jackson, I mean, Michael Bush did all of Michael Jackson's costuming.
Oh wow.
And Britt had uh the idea to do a red catsuit, and they called around and nobody could get it done, on time. And Michael Bush said, I can do that. And he did. And so we just were so impressed with Michael Bush. Now, he didn't really have time to work with Brittany afterwards because he was so busy with Michael Jackson. But Michael Bush came in and saved the day with the red cat suit for Brittany's Oops video. So I
Wow.
really thought that was a super cool Brittany doll as well, just because I knew how much Brittany loved the fit of the red cat suit and that Michael Jackson's costumer had done it, that kind of thing.
Do you still have some of these dolls laying around? Are they?
I have every one of them.
Oh my gosh.
I have every one of
Amazing.
them.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
I'm so glad
Um,
you got those.
One of the sometimes with the little white, a girl that's still one of my very best girlfriends, her name is Haley Hill, and Haley was the fashion editor for Teen People magazine. And Haley worked with us, and Brittany loved Haley, so Haley did the Sometimes video. And
Ah.
so Haley, at her house the other day, I saw, well, not the other day, but a couple months ago, she has the Sometimes baby, blah, the Sometimes doll, and Brittany signed it to Haley Love Brittany. It's
Oh my
so sweet. And she
God.
said, I would never take that out of the box. And she has three children, all grown up now. But when the kids were little, they begged to play with the Brittany doll. So you could play with anything in this house if you touched my Brittany doll. But yes, so I still get to see them often.
I
Um,
love
yeah,
that. I
yeah.
love that. So I want to do a little fun little activity with you. So we're gonna do a little trip down memory lane for you. And so I'm gonna pull out some Britney dolls. And I mean we kind of
Okay.
talked about two of them, so we'll just
Okay.
elaborate on those. I'm gonna show you some of the dolls that were released, and then I'm gonna show you some of the ones that I've made. And I want you to just tell me a little bit about like maybe some memories. So we already talked about Baby One More Time. So I mean you were in this music video. So it's
I
like
was in the music
and
video.
I have to tell you, this is also my favorite Britney doll of all
Oh,
time. It's the first
oh,
one I ever got. Like, how could it not be, right? You know,
and I don't see one of Fee the teacher,
we need
in my
one.
gorgeous brown polyester outfit.
Oh my
You know
gosh.
how that happened, right?
No, tell me.
Oh my gosh, we got to the video set and we just went nuts because it was at Venice Beach High School where they filmed Grease, and we just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And then they got ready to shoot the scene in the classroom, and they were like, "Where's the teacher?" And everybody's looking around going, "We don't have a teacher." And they were like, "We have to have a teacher." And they said, you could hear them, "We don't have any money in the budget for that. We don't, no, I mean, we don't have a teacher." And Nigel Dick was the
Right.
director of that video. And Nigel's like, "We've got to have a teacher." And Brittany said, "Phil, do it." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." And so they went like next door to either Goodwill or Salvation Army or something and bought the gorgeous outfit,
Iconic.
the brown polyester. Oh, the shoes were even better. Oh my gosh. And that's how it happened. That's how I got
Wow.
in the video. It was so much fun, and I think if at the beginning, if you see her tapping her little foot on the desk and she
Hmm.
looks up and grins, that's when I walk in and she first sees me in that outfit, and
Oh.
she is so tickled. Like, she literally we had to stop because we got into the biggest fit of giggles because they flipped my hair out and oh my gosh. But yeah, that video shoot, there is nothing like the way we felt during that video shoot. And it was, I mean, it made all her dreams come true.
It
I mean, if we
did.
had stopped right there, we'd have both died happy women. If we had stopped
Oh.
at that point. I mean, that we never thought it could get any better than the Baby One More Time video shoot. So the baby doll, the Britney doll, I call them all baby dolls, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The Britney Baby One More Time doll represents probably the neatest thing ever in both of our lives. Ever,
Oh, I love
ever.
that so much. And like you said, I mean, this is the one that did it, you know?
That's the signature baby.
Yeah, it's the best one. So great story. Thank and what a great memory to have forever.
Oh my
Forever.
gosh, like I told you, I'm so grateful that you asked me to do this because the memories that it brings back, I mean, my heart could just pop. I'm so
Oh, me
excited.
too.
Let's don't do
Uh,
it.
okay, we're fine. All right, so now we're going to talk about, I mean, I would say arguably, maybe not, second most iconic Britney outfit is the Oops
Okay.
video. So were you there for the video shoot? I feel like you
Of
must.
course I was.
I think I just watched the making of the video a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, "Ah, Miss Faye."
And I probably had a little tiny disposable camera going around driving everybody nuts. Or they might have given me a video camera,
Oh,
which was just terrible to do to them, not to me, because I loved it. It made everybody crazy. But that outfit was made by Michael Bush, the costumer for Michael Jackson, and it was skin tight. Oh, and we had to baby powder her up to get
oh,
her
I'm
because she was, dancing like nobody's business, and to go from one costume to the next, because there was a white costume, top and bottom, but to get into that, oh my goodness. We baby powdered and finally got her into it, and I mean, she'll look like $1,000,005.
incredible.
I mean,
I remember
seriously.
when I woke up one morning. I already had I mean, Brittany was already my everything. I woke up one morning and it was like the premiere of the video. And I just remember being like, what? Iconic. And you know what's so great about the Britney doll is like for that Oops video, for instance, they did all three of her
Oh,
outfits.
yes, yes, okay. I love that.
Yeah, so
Love that.
I love how they did, I mean, there was such a variety for all of us fans to pick out our favorite, and of course I had to have them all.
Yeah, of course you did. But I do think when you think of that video, the red cat suit comes to mind first in the Oops video. And then my second would be the skirt, the white, where she's laying down. So those are the two that really resonate most in my mind are the red and the white.
And I feel like I'm just flashbacks. Like I feel like something happened that video like a camera fell on her head or something.
It
Did I
did. It
make
fell
that
on
up?
her head. No, you
Oh
did not make
no.
that up. And she was laying down, and the way they positioned it was it fell right on her head, and she had stitches,
Oh my gosh.
but she
And
got
then
right
get right. Yep, of course she
back up.
did.
She
Of
did right back up. She's a pro.
She is pro.
Pro.
The pro. Okay, so this next one I want to show you, I picked this one out because this is actually, and also I don't know if you know this, Miss V. A lot of these dolls are very rare, and like a
Oh,
lot of them like didn't get there weren't as many produced of them.
okay,
And
okay.
so this next one is probably one of the more sought after Britney dolls. And it's interesting because it wasn't like an album or a single, it was for the HBO special. And it is this
Oh,
Los
Elvis.
Elvis jumpsuit. So what can you tell me about this?
Well, the HBO special was fabulous,
Oh,
and we filmed it in Vegas, and they wanted something Vegas, they just had to be what, Iconic Vegas. So of course everybody thought of Elvis. And so Kurt and Bart designed the outfit, and it was magnificent. And it was on all the billboards. It was down the side of MGM, if I'm not mistaken. It was
Yes.
red in the Elvis outfit down the side of MGM. And I mean, literally completely iconic. But I
Oh,
didn't know that that was most sought after. I didn't know that I have the Elvis Britney doll. I'm gonna have to go through and look.
oh my gosh, yes, you have to. So there's a I mean, like I said, there's like 50 of these, and there's a few of them that are very like people will pay like $700 for that doll.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's also one she's in like it's from the Oops tour. She's in like a purple jumpsuit.
Yes, I remember that.
That one is very rare and like everyone wants to get their hands on it. So, very cool. And I think I read somewhere that that jumpsuit, like the actual one, got stolen.
You know what? I don't remember if that actual jumpsuit got stolen, but I remember she wore a big like Elvis always wore capes.
Yeah.
That got stolen. I'm not sure about that jumpsuit.
Yeah, I read that somewhere randomly, and that's I was like, I don't
Wow.
I think it did, or maybe the cape did, and then
Was it
over
cape?
time, people,
Yes.
wow, who would
And
do that?
I don't know sometimes if it were that they got stolen or just completely misplaced. We moved around so much that it was
Yeah,
just really probably hard to, yeah,
keep
I
track of
don't know the answer,
everything. Interesting.
but I will try and see if I can't figure it out.
Okay, well, let me know. So now,
I'll let you know.
so yeah, so those are some of the ones that were released, and now I want to show you some of what I do, and maybe you could tell
Please.
me some of like so some memories of these moments. So
Okay.
this is one that I did. This is the
Oh, that's gorgeous.
this is the
MTV.
oops, I did it again at the VMAs, and I feel like I picked this one to show you because I do feel like this was a big moment in probably Britney's, besides that amazing Rolling Stone cover, the magazine with the Teletubby, iconic. I feel like this was her first big controversial moment, and I loved it. I
The reveal.
the Absolutely, and let me tell you, that was on my 10th birthday, September 7th,
Oh
2000.
my gosh.
It was the best birthday present ever. So what can you tell me about this iconic moment?
Well, she was very sad because the Velcro, did you see at the very beginning of the MTV Awards, the Velcro kind of didn't catch as
Right.
tightly as it should. So that made her sad. It didn't throw her off her game, but it definitely made her sad because I remember her going, "Oh, if it just hadn't have, it would have been perfect." But what scared me when I ended up seeing it, because I never saw anything live, I always was behind.
Mm.
So when I didn't see it until I saw the playback, and I was like, "Oh my gosh," and she goes, "Yeah, I know, Fee, it really made me sad." But the reveal was, I mean, yes,
Iconic.
it was and that was her idea. Kurt and Bart just made her idea come to fruition. That outfit, that reveal was her idea. So,
Wow.
you made that?
I did.
That is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is one that I mean, because the Britney doll line, I mean, they had tons of them, but it kind of stopped pretty abruptly. I don't see a play line, doll line or whatever you want to call it, releasing something as risque as this. So it is one that people love to buy because it is truly one of her best performances of all time. And so I
Oh,
love
yes.
making this one,
And
and
I love that you did the belly.
of course, you
I
got
love
to,
that.
yeah. So this next one is also a VMA, and you were mentioning this earlier. So this is one that I made.
Oh, stop. That is
Oh,
gorgeous.
thank you.
I mean, down to the hair, that is beautiful. I'm speechless. That is gorgeous.
Thank you so much. And like I said, I just love to use that original Britney face because it's just like, first of all, she fits in with all the other ones. But also like it's just my childhood and these memories. And this is also one that people just absolutely
And those
love.
boots,
Yeah.
that is stunning. You did
Thank
a
you.
great job.
Thank you. And so, I mean, you were there for this too, I
I was
assume. And
there
so,
for that.
what was that
Um,
like?
Well, she was scared to death of the snake,
I
and she
bet.
was like, "I'm not gonna do it." And I'm like, "Oh, but you have to, it'll make such a huge impact." And she's like, "I'm not touching that snake fee." And I said, "Well, do you want me to go pick it up?" And she's like, "Will you?" And I said, "Sure, I will." And on the inside, I was like, "Ugh." And she goes, "You really don't care?" And I'm like, "No." I said, "They don't bite. Those snakes don't bite." So she said, "Oh, well, if you'll do it, I'll do it." So she went over, picked it up, did the rehearsal, and did the MTV Awards, and everything was great. And at the end, everybody was like, "I can't believe you picked up that snake. Weren't you scared?" And she said, "Yeah, but Fee said that they don't bite, so I wouldn't die." And they said, "But did Fee tell you that those make snakes squeeze you to death?" I said, "I didn't tell her that. She didn't ask that. She asked if they bit." I said, "No." So, yes, I did not have to touch it,
Ah,
but I said
y-
I
y-
would. But it's almost like she was like, "Okay, well, if you will, then I will. So whatever." So,
oh gosh,
but
and I'm
yes,
so glad she did.
and it was heavy, heavy,
Oh, I
heavy.
bet. I bet. Well,
I
I
think it
mean,
was much heavier than she thought it was gonna be. When she went to hand it to the girl that was hanging upside down that called her name was Aunt Nancy Anderson, the
mhm.
dancer, and when Nancy had no idea how heavy it was gonna be until Britt handed it to her, and she's like, "Whoa." So, but, I mean, you can watch the performance. Britt's on her she's just tippy toes. I mean, she's like, "This doesn't," it didn't weigh her down. But Nancy was the one that told us, "Oh my gosh, it was so heavy." I think Britt was so into the moment that the weight didn't make any difference.
But she's also an athlete, and I'm like, I imagine she was extremely strong, and that's something I've always really, really, really admired about Britney is like she's at the end of the day, I mean, she's a performer, but she's an athlete. Like she
True.
is, in a healthy, healthy way. Like she is fit, and I mean, I can't see that really being a problem for her, just because she was so fit.
I need to find out how much that snake weighed because I mean, it was unbelievably heavy.
Just, I
But your Britney doll is holding the snake with as much ease as Britney Spears did.
absolutely had to make it look easy.
Fabulous.
Okay, yes, so very iconic moment. And then I'll just show you one more that I've done. And so I know you toured with Britney, through Onyx Hotel, and then you kind of came back when Circus came off. And so this is another very, very popular one that I think it's also just in the last maybe 10, 15 years, however long it's been, also one of the more iconic outfits, and that is her ringleader outfit.
That is so cool. That hat. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. That is
Oh
gorgeous.
my God, thank
I am
you.
so impressed. Gorgeous. Now, the hat, I will tell you, for that circus hat was extremely heavy.
Oh, I
And
bet.
so she wore it several times, and then it really was almost too heavy, for her to come down in and continue on because she started off up and came down,
Right.
and so it was extremely heavy. It was stunning,
Yeah, I think
stunning.
probably one of her best tour costumes that I can think of. I Miss V, I've probably made every single tour costume she's ever worn. So I'll definitely
Oh,
send you some photos because I think you,
please do.
yeah, I
It
think
would
you
make
would,
me so happy to because, I mean, there was so much and it all runs together that to see it all again would just tickle me pink. Because most of them I changed.
right,
That's where I spent all my time was in the quick change.
right,
So that costume would have been put on in her full-on dressing room, not in the quick change. So she would start off in that.
right.
So, she had to get in that, and then they took her to the stage in a laundry hamper because that was in the round.
Right.
And so there were people all around. So we didn't have a back way for her to get in. So she would have to sit in the laundry hamper. So I would have the big hat waiting before she went up. So
Okay.
before she surfaced, because that was too big to go in with her in the hamper to get to the stage.
Amazing. There was one I wanted to show you. It's the music box.
Oh, tiny dancer. That's what we would call her, tiny
Oh,
dancer. And
oh,
okay, a story about that is I was in quick change and was right under where they put the music box. Okay, so the music box was so heavy that it could not be rolled. I mean, it couldn't literally be hoisted up on top. They had to build a special lift a special elevator to lift it from the ground level to put it on top of the stage for it
Hmm.
to be there. Well, I was directly under that, under the music box. I want to say it weighed 8 tons or
Oh,
80.
geez.
I want Anyway, every night when that music box was on the stage, I was a nervous mess because if the rigging didn't hold up and the music box smushed the stage, there would be nothing of me to send home to my daddy.
Oh
Probably not
my
even a
God.
fingernail. I would just sit under there going, because I knew that, they had such a hard time getting it on the stage. Finally, they just said, we have to build something special. And I'm sitting under there going, thanks, thanks.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
So,
I have to show this to you. Hold on.
oh my,
It's not a problem.
okay.
You're gonna
Okay.
love it.
Oh,
Okay, so
oh my
sometimes he
gosh.
actually has like a thing that I put in there and it rotates her. Um, let me flip her around for you. So
Oh my
this is
god.
the music box doll. Oh, let me.
Oh, she's beautiful. Oh, she's so
Oh,
beautiful.
thanks. And yeah, so I
Oh,
made the doll and she'll
oh
spin.
my
Yeah.
god.
But I love this costume and I loved this performance. So I was like, I gotta make one of these.
Oh, you didn't make the burn spot where she threw it on the pyro.
Oh, oh no.
Yeah, of course
Oh,
she did.
the things that, it'll happen. It could happen.
She did. And I'll tell you a neat little thing about the turnkey, the big old
Sure.
key. Um, our production manager at the time, his name is Rob Brenner. I
Hmm.
went up to work with Rob. Rob worked with lots of folks as production manager, but when the last show we did was in Mexico City with that, and he took the key and she signed it to Rob and his wife Dawn. She was a production assistant, and they have it hanging up in their house.
Oh, that's
Huge. I
amazing.
mean, it's a beautiful piece of art. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah. But she loved that particular moment because and we would always call her Tiny Dancer, which that's so ironic now that
I
she did Tiny Dancer.
I know.
Isn't that what she did with Elsa?
Yeah, I think it's called Hold Me Closer, but it's
Yes,
that
yes. But
song,
she
yeah.
always sang that song, always.
Oh, that's amazing to hear.
And I would say, "Okay, it's time for Tiny Dancer." That's what we called that particular time in the show. In the show notes, that was Tiny Dancer.
Oh, I love that. Amazing. Oh, I'm so glad I brought this down because I was like,
Oh,
I have a vivid memory of watching a DVD or
oh,
VHS of the Mexico ordeal or whatever. And I remember you walking around with the giant music box key. And
that was the one that
that's,
she gave to Robin Dawn,
oh, I
and they
love
still
that.
have it.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
See, she just makes memories for everyone.
Well, and see how all this just lights me up.
I know. I'm so happy.
This has really made me happy. Thank you.
Good.
I mean, we forget how much looking back at old things can make you so happy and just
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I could tell 5,000 more stories about all the things that have happened along the way. Oh, I
I,
see your meet and greet picture in the back.
oh
You're making
yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you about my meet and greet experience first here. Let me
okay,
show you that.
okay.
Practice my whole life for this photo. So when I graduated college, this was
Tell me
my
you're not the one that closed your eyes.
no, no, I'm
Okay,
not.
good.
I'm not.
Okay.
Um, I for my college graduation, I got the tickets and meet and greet for because I remember my grandpa being like, "You don't want to go somewhere like Mexico or I was like, "No, I want to go to
No.
Vegas and meet Britney." And he was like, "Okay." So here's my meet and greet photo.
Oh my gosh, that's a that's a really great meet and greet photo.
Thank you, thank you. And I just have to tell you, so I knew you were involved with that. I like the backstage. You know how it comes. I don't think I understood the fullness of what I was gonna get when I
Oh
did
my
this
gosh, my big
experience.
loud mouth talking
Well,
2,000 miles an hour.
no, I just remember you walking out and me being like, shut the fuck
Oh,
up.
thank you.
Oh my God. And you were so, so nice to me because I'm pretty sure most of the people that were in this experience with me, they were all coupled up and I was just by myself. And you were so nice to me. You had me with you pretty much the whole time just because I was alone and everyone else was with someone, you know? And it was so much fun. And then because I had talked to you because I was studying to be a teacher and I actually run a gymnastics gym now. I kind of went that route just because it's where I was already at. And so I subbed for a while and I was talking to you about that and you were so nice. And then, they tell you all this stuff like, don't be crazy to her because she's just a normal person. And you're like, of course, I know this. Do all y'all know this? Um, but there was like a really, really drunk girl who went
Oh,
before me and I was like, well, shit. my
you
my shots
fucked
for
up.
my shots for a good picture are ruined. And I remember you were so nice. They took a little bit of a break and I was like, "Oh no." You were so nice. You walked me in to
Oh,
meet her and you introduced me to her, which
oh,
because I think you saw that I was a little bit nervous that now she was like she would be upset because there was this really obnoxious drunk girl. She like sat on a heater and it broke. It
oh,
was a
good.
it was a whole ordeal. And of course, I'm behind her. And you were so, so nice to me and like made sure that like she was comfortable, and you took me in there, you introduced me to her. And it was just like, I mean, the best moment of my life. Hello.
Oh,
And
so
it,
glad I did that for
yeah,
you.
and it was
Oh,
such a special
happy to
thing.
hear.
Yeah.
Makes
And
me happy.
because I wasn't freaking out to meet her. I was very like, I'm good. Like I'm excited, but I'm not the type of person to be like, you know,
Well, and that girl probably did. That probably
she
is
did.
what.
She like screamed or something, and you came out like pretty much immediately, and you were like, "Don't worry, she's gonna take a little bit of break, and then we'll go back in." And then you didn't. I don't think you did this with everyone. Maybe you did, but you took me in there.
Yeah.
You walked me to the whatever you because it was on the stage, which I thought was
Yes.
so wild. And so you
Step
walked
and
me right.
repeat.
Yep.
I walked
Mm-hmm.
you right up to the step and repeat.
Yep. And yeah, and it worked out great, and we had the best night of our lives. So that was a very special moment for me.
I'm
And you were
so glad I could be a part of that special
yeah,
moment.
and you were
Oh,
very, very kind, and that's why I was like, oh my God, I'm talking to Miss Fee,
yes, you
the
are.
the legend.
I think you need to tell other people this. Hmm. My crown seems to be tarnished these days.
Oh, not for me. It is
Thank
shiny. Your crown
my
is
niece is
shiny.
15
Oh,
to say.
uh,
Told me the other day, she said, Fifi, I know you think your friends think you're funny and you're cool, but you're not funny and you're not cool. And I'll tell you something. I looked at her and I said, you know what? I might not be funny, but doggone it, I'm cool. I
way
got so,
cool.
but she's 15.
She'll learn. She'll learn.
Thank you. Thank you.
She'll learn. All right, so Miss V, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I think we covered a lot of great things, but I just a couple more questions. So
Okay.
going back to the dolls,
Yes.
was there ever like a Britney doll you wish they would have made, or was there a costume that you really even if they did make it, I don't know that what like your favorite costume she ever wore that you were present for, something like that?
Oh,
A tough question. I apologize.
no, that's okay. I'm just trying to think. Um, because so many of them, I mean, I'm that girl that loves everything from the start. Like once she had it on, oh, I'll tell you the one that would they might have made. You have to tell me the toxic where she has the diamonds all over her. They didn't make.
Mm-mm.
Well, it's because me and Kurt and Bart glued those on her body by bit by bit by bit.
Oh,
So no, no,
how long did that take?
no, forever, forever. Um, Gosh, no, I can't say that I have a favorite. My favorite would, the doll would be the number one, the Baby One More Time doll,
Yeah.
and I'm enamored with your Snake, the slave video
Oh,
doll.
thank
Sh
you.
she is beautiful.
Thank you.
They did do a slave video though, right?
They
Like,
did like the
from the
pink.
slave from the yes, and then and like the denim, the bottoms that look like a little G-string thing
Yeah,
hooked onto the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's from the video,
Yeah.
but they didn't do from okay. Um, no, I really that was a hard one. I think I'd have to go back and once I see the pictures of that you're going to send me, and once I go through my pictures to send to you, um, then maybe I can figure out which one was my absolute favorite. But right
That's
now, I am really
I
partial
I
to.
can't even choose. Aside from I mean, I'll always go back to this one. Like it's just such I mean, I've had great moments in my life. Hello. But like this is just I just nothing is like it. I just this I mean, honestly, this song and the whole Baby One More Time, it changed my life, as it did with her and you. Do you think we will ever get another Britney doll?
Oh, there are many opportunities for another Britney doll, I hope.
I do too.
So I do not know if we'll get another Britney doll. I can't nobody's asked me to photograph any clothing. Nobody's asked me for that yet. So I can't say that we will for certain, but I do know that there are possibilities. There are great possibilities anytime. And Brittany herself does some really cool outfits on her Instagram. So who's to say somebody wouldn't take some of those? And I mean, the nice things about the ones she does on her Instagrams is those are outfits that people find and can actually replicate, like on their bodies. They can wear those dresses and stuff. And so maybe somebody will do like live like Britney or be like Britney every day.
I
It's a thought.
I
So
hope
no, I
so.
don't know if there'll be another Britney doll, but I never say never to Brit.
Right. Of course not. You can't. You can't. And then last question to close things out. What is your favorite Britney Spears song?
Other than Baby, which of course is the signature song, um, I love Toxic.
Mm,
And I love this song that was during the circus tour called Radar.
yeah.
I love that song.
Radar.
I it did for some reason I love that song when I get on the treadmill or when I walk or what I love Radar. That's one of my
Radar.
very favorites.
I
Isn't it
love
great?
that. No,
So
it's a
Baby, of
great
course,
song.
will always be. And then I love Toxic. But there's something about Radar that I don't know. I love that song.
I love that. I love that. All right. Well, Miss V, thank you so much for doing this. I mean, everyone is going to eat this up. They're going to
Oh,
love it so
say
much.
it was my
Oh,
pleasure. It was my pleasure.
um,
Thank you. You have made me very happy.
I
This sent me back to a really incredibly happy time in my life. Thank you. Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you. And we'll keep in touch. I can't wait to see those photos.
Yes, send me your snail mail.
I will. I will.
That yeah, send me your snail mail. And your
Uh,
birthday is September 7th?
uh-huh.
Okay, I'm not gonna forget that.
Oh, thank you. All right. Well, thank you so much, and we'll keep in touch.
That sounds great.
Yay. Yes, thank you so much, Miss V.
You are so welcome. You are so welcome, and thank you for thinking of me. It
Oh,
makes
of
me
course. Good. All right. Well, we'll talk soon, okay?
bye.
Bye. All right. That was so much fun. I hope you guys loved that as much as I did. Felicia, thank you so much for being on the show. I literally cannot thank you or tell you how grateful I am for that conversation. It made my year pretty much. So thank you so much. Thank you guys all so much for listening. Like I said, I have tons more episodes coming for you this fall. Please check out my past episodes. Just search Iconic Dollcast wherever you get your podcasts. Please, if you want to order a doll, check out my Instagram at Britney Spears Custom Dolls. Also, please follow the show Instagram, Iconic Dollcast. Follow me on TikTok at Britney Spears Dolls, and I will talk with you guys next time. Thank you so much.